Me, myself, I've been living with HIV for the past 7 years now. And I'm 26 years old now, and I knew my HIV status when I was a teenager, so it was below 20. As someone who's living with HIV, I know I'm young, I'm living with HIV, and I'm a young woman. I know what, from my experience, that I can share with other young people. So, like the young people living with HIV need to be involved also with the youth response. We have Frau Fransen dos Santos from Netherlands.
When I was tested HIV positive, I was 15 years old in 1993. There was nothing. There was no support, nothing.
The more young people who understand about HIV and sex education, the more they can protect themselves. So that's why it's really important in terms of to make sure that it's sustainable, the response, its response is sustainable and long term. We need to invest on young people.
As someone who's HIV negative, I think it's partly my responsibility to try to make more opportunities for people with HIV to become involved with talking to other people.
What you're saying is advocacy. How can we use the young people be advocates for the youth living with HIV?
We can't only depend on the scientists, or we can only depend on treatment, but we also need to look at what we can do as human, more into like the human interactions process, on how to do more prevention programs and how to do intervention programs to make sure that there are not more and more people who get infected.
We all know how important it is to know your status, etc., etc. But what's involved when you actually go for a test? How do you feel? What do you need?
We try to get people to understand how it felt if you go to HIV testing.
Again, use your imagination or use your experience.
My result was negative, and it kind of reminded me of when I went for a real HIV test back home in Barbados. The thoughts were the same, the result was the same as well, but prior to getting the findings, like so many things are going through your mind. It's like, what if I am positive? What do I need? Are my friends still going to be there?
There are stigma and discrimination attached. Like, okay, you have a doctor you visit, you take your drugs, but then when you need a dentist or other services, sometimes they disclose your status. And then I told, like, okay, that would be a huge problem for me, because I have a family whom I don't want to talk that I have sex.
I live in the Netherlands, where services and care are well organized, but I still don't want my neighbors to know that I'm HIV positive. What does that mean, and what does that mean for the work we do?
I mean, I found out about my HIV/AIDS. I do not expect, I do not want anyone to know about
in
my
the Asian Pacific, talking about sexuality, talking about young people's rights or sexual rights, it's really a taboo thing. And with the culture that we have, the culture of shame and culture of silence, sometimes we are not, like, active enough to go and knock on the door of the older people, saying that, okay, this is what I need. I know myself, as someone who's living with HIV in developing countries, services are not there, discriminations are there, stigma is also there. But in Asian Pacific region, we are like the most populated region in the world, and the modes of transmission of HIV from all of the modes of transmission of HIV, like blood transfusion, blood selling, sexual transmissions, and drug use transmissions, happens in Asia. Everything happens and then from mother to child transmission also happen in Asia because of the lack of access to treatment and access of services.
I cannot afford for the drug.
Asia and the Pacific can be like a silent time bomb. If we do not invest from now, it's going to be time bomb.
I mean, we lose job, and I mean, we come from the poor family, so finally, I lose my husband. So that's it I want to share.
With the modern world, they are like internet, and you can just search. But in my country or in my region, from Asia region, there are like a lot of people are still illiterate in using internet. We don't even know how to use computer. So sometimes in terms of informations, we need to think about people who are in the villages and the people who are illiterate with maybe they can't read. So how do we reach these people also? We have been talking about young people being involved in the AIDS response, in global response. As young people living with HIV, I don't think we need to... Yeah, I would say like the young people, we need to organize ourselves and to actually get together, becoming solid and united, and to start making noise, you know, like confront the older or senior leaders, saying that, okay, you need to start listening to us now because we are going to be the young generation who someday may be taking your place, you know.
The leadership that I want to see or that I want to have in the future is people who are brave enough to take the responsibility, people who are who are accountable, and also brave enough to take and to demand for the authority to make the change.
The senior leaders or the older people, they need to listen, start listening to us. They were young before, come on, they forgot they were being young. And yeah, maybe they were young 20 or 30 years ago, but they were young before. So we need to, like, I think, remind them, hey, you need to listen to us now.